She's not scanning your biceps, she's scanning your details. You've probably felt it. You show up well dressed, the conversation's fine, and yet something doesn't click. The date ends polite, the spark never lights, and you go home thinking it's height, age, or luck. It's not. Most men miss what women actually pay attention to in the first 30 seconds. The tiny signals that broadcast discipline, stability, and desire without a single line. Here's the shift. Attraction isn't about more talk, it's about better cues. Women quietly read your hands and nails, how your shoulders enter a doorway, whether your collar and cuffs look sharp, what your face says when you're not on. They notice how you hold a glass or a phone, the state of your shoes, the calm pace of your movements, the smile that reaches your eyes, the way you treat staff, and the small rituals that tell a bigger story. In this video, I'll show you 10 details women secretly stare at and exactly what each one means. You'll learn the fast Stoic fixes that turn noise into presence, simple routines, cleaner lines, slower timing, deeper eye contact. Nothing flashy, nothing fake, just quiet upgrades that make you feel more like yourself while making her feel more around you. One of these tweaks changes how she sees you before you even speak. Ready to upgrade? Let's get into it. Number 1. The hands that tell her everything. Women notice your hands before you even shake theirs. Not because they're obsessed with size or veins, but because hands reveal discipline, and discipline to a woman is desire disguised as control. Think about it. A man's hands tell his story before he speaks. Are they clean, cared for, calm when they move, or are they rough in the wrong ways? Bitten nails, dry skin, restless fingers tapping on the table. Every small cue tells her something about your inner world. She reads whether you respect yourself, whether you're steady under pressure, whether you live with purpose. Take Daniel, 56, an architect from Chicago. Successful, fit, confident, but he couldn't understand why women seemed to lose interest after a first date. One night a friend told him, "You always look polished, but your hands look like you just changed a tire." He laughed it off, but later he noticed she was right. His nails were uneven, his skin cracked, cuticles dry. The next week, he took 10 minutes every morning to moisturize, trim, and keep them clean. No big change. But suddenly the way women responded shifted, subtle but real. They noticed, they felt the difference. Because self-care communicates something deeper than vanity, it signals self-respect. Now that doesn't mean your hands have to be perfect or soft. Calloused hands can be incredibly attractive if they're intentional, if they tell a story of work, not neglect. It's not about hiding who you are. It's about showing that you care about how you show up. You see, in Stoic philosophy, there's an idea called the virtue of order. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your actions be done without confusion or disorder." The same principle applies here. Hands that are neat, calm, deliberate, reflect an orderly mind. When your gestures are composed, when your hands move with purpose, not restlessness, people feel your confidence before you speak. That's why women pay attention to your hands when you talk. They watch how you rest them on the table, how you touch your drink, how you emphasize a point. Every movement tells her something about your emotional state. The man who fidgets, grips, or hides his hands often hides uncertainty. The man who gestures slowly naturally signals peace and control. Hands also communicate energy in silence. When you reach for something, a glass, a doorknob, her shoulder, your touch reveals your inner rhythm. Gentle but firm says calm strength. Hesitant says insecurity. Aggressive says tension. You don't need jewelry or gimmicks. A simple ring, a clean watch, or nothing at all, as long as everything looks intentional, that's enough. Intention is the language of attraction. So here's a quick test. Next time you're out, glance at your hands. Are they sending the right message? Because trust me, she's already looking. Women stare at hands not to judge, but to feel. to see if you're grounded, consistent, and capable of touch that feels safe but strong. If that resonates with you, drop it below. As your reminder, I move with purpose. Don't go anywhere. What comes next will show you how the shape of your shoulders can speak louder than words. And once you understand that, you'll never walk into a room the same way again. Number 2. The shoulders that command a room. Before you speak, before you smile, before a single word leaves your mouth, your shoulders have already spoken. They announce your presence long before your voice does. And women notice, not because they're scanning for muscles, but because shoulders tell the truth about how you carry yourself in life. A man's shoulders are more than anatomy, they're architecture. Rounded, slouched shoulders tell a story of surrender. Straight, open, and grounded shoulders, they tell a story of calm power. You don't have to be big or imposing. You just have to hold yourself like a man who doesn't shrink from the world. Women read that instantly. The moment you walk into a room, they feel whether your energy expands or collapses. When your shoulders are back, chest relaxed, neck free, you project one thing above all: composure. It's not arrogance. It's not dominance. It's self-command. And here's what most men get wrong: they try to fake it. They puff up, exaggerate, or walk with forced swagger. That's not confidence. That's insecurity in costume. True confidence comes from alignment, not tension. From knowing your place in the room, not fighting for it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That includes your body language. When you master your posture, you master how others feel around you. Straightening your shoulders isn't about looking tough. It's about creating space for presence to exist. Because here's the psychological truth. Posture affects perception, both theirs and yours. When your body stands tall, your mind follows. You breathe deeper, speak slower, move cleaner. And women pick up on that rhythm. They don't see posture, they feel certainty. The next time you enter a room, pause for a second at the doorway. Let your shoulders square, naturally drop the unnecessary tension from your neck, and walk with quiet awareness. No rush, no noise, just pace. That few seconds of mindfulness can shift how every person perceives you, especially women. In that posture, you're not trying to prove anything. You're showing without words that you're grounded in who you are. That groundedness is magnetic because it speaks to something primal: safety. Women aren't attracted to arrogance. They're drawn to stillness that feels unshakable. And when she sees you move like that, shoulders relaxed yet strong, she feels something she can't explain, a quiet pull. Because energy doesn't lie. Your shoulders carry your state of mind. So next time you catch your reflection, don't think about how big you look. Think about what your stance says. Does it whisper calm power, or does it scream for attention? As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your posture be the reflection of your soul, upright but never rigid." That's the balance: firm but not forced, confident but not loud. When you walk like that, you don't have to announce yourself. The room adjusts around you. If that's the energy you aim for, write it below. I walk in calm authority. Stay with me, because next we'll talk about something far smaller than your shoulders, yet far more revealing: the quiet power hidden in your collar and cuffs. Don't go anywhere. Number 3. The collar that reveals discipline. It sounds trivial, doesn't it? A shirt collar. 2 inches of fabric that sits on your neck. Yet that small detail speaks volumes about your discipline, your awareness, and your relationship with control. Women notice it, not consciously at first, but instinctively. They read it the same way they read posture or tone. It's a quiet signal of order, of care of the man behind the appearance. Take Michael, 51, a financial consultant from Dallas. He's sharp, articulate, and successful, but his dating life constantly stalling. One evening over dinner, his friend's wife told him something that stuck. "You always dress well, but your collar looks tired, like it's given up." He brushed it off, but the comment lingered. The next week, he had his shirts pressed properly, upgraded his collar stays and adjusted the fit. He didn't change anything else, not the brand, not the color, just the discipline. The effect was instant. He noticed the shift in how people, especially women, responded. Subtle nods, longer eye contact, a different kind of attention. Because that crisp collar wasn't just fabric, it was structure. It symbolized alignment, precision, and presence. A woman's mind works in layers. When she sees a man with a well-kept collar, she doesn't think nice shirt. She thinks this man has order in his life. Clean lines suggest clean habits. A sharp collar means he's not rushing through his day, he's deliberate. He respects the details. And in psychology, that's what builds trust and attraction. Women don't crave perfection, they crave reliability. And small consistencies, like the way you maintain your clothes, communicate that reliability faster than any words can. But this goes deeper than fashion. The Stoics believed the outer world should reflect the inner one. Seneca once said, "Let your external be the echo of your internal calm." That's exactly what's happening here. Your collar, your cuffs, your shoes, they all echo your state of mind. When they're ordered, so are you. When they're sloppy, your energy feels scattered. Now, this doesn't mean you need to dress like a CEO every day. It's not about brand or luxury, it's about intention. You can wear a plain shirt from a local store and still outclass a man in designer clothes if you carry it with discipline. And women feel that difference. Because attention to detail in your appearance suggests attention to detail in relationships. It tells her, you notice what matters, you take pride in presentation, and you don't let things slip, not in work, not in life, not in love. Michael later joked that fixing his collar was the most powerful $5 investment he ever made. But what really changed wasn't the shirt, it was the mindset behind it. The act of caring about small things turned him into a man who radiated composure. So before your next meeting date or even casual outing, look in the mirror. That collar sitting flat and sharp, that's not just fabric, that's focus. If you get this, write it below. I respect the details. Don't go anywhere. What comes next will shift from fabric to flesh, because your face in silence reveals far more than anything you say. Stay with me. Number 4. The face you wear when no one's watching. There's something about a man's face in silence that tells the truth, the kind of truth no words can hide. You might think women are drawn to good looks, symmetry, or youth, but that's not it. What actually draws them in is energy. It's the emotional texture that sits on your face when you're not performing, when you think nobody's watching. That's when your real state is exposed. A relaxed, grounded face, one that doesn't constantly seek approval, that doesn't twitch tense or force smiles, is quietly magnetic. Women sense it immediately. It tells them you're comfortable in your own presence. You don't need validation to exist. Here's what most men don't realize. Your resting face is like a billboard of your inner world. If your life is full of frustration, resentment, or anxiety, it shows even when you're silent. Stoic philosophy has always taught that our external calm reflects our inner discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your expression is the dye made visible. A man who carries peace in his mind carries it in his face. The corners of his mouth, the way his eyes settle, everything signals stillness. That's what women read. They're not looking for perfection, they're scanning for safety and strength. A calm expression says, "I'm centered." A forced grin says, "I need to be liked." And here's where the subtle psychology comes in. Women subconsciously associate a calm, confident face with reliability, the kind of reliability that feels both masculine and magnetic. Because when your emotions aren't leaking through your expressions, it means you're in control of them. You're not reactionary, you're responsive. Think about the kind of man who walks into a room and doesn't feel the need to smile or speak first. He simply observes. His eyes don't dart around. His face doesn't shift to please. That quiet steadiness draws more attention than any loud charm ever could. In a way, your face becomes your philosophy. It's a reflection of how you meet the world. The Stoics called it apatheia, freedom from being ruled by emotion, not coldness but clarity. When you live that way, it shows in your eyes, your jaw, your very stillness. So if you want to change how women see you, don't start with tricks or phrases. Start with your inner dialogue. The calmer your thoughts, the calmer your face. The calmer your face, the more she feels drawn toward you without understanding why. This is also why men who meditate or practice mindfulness naturally become more attractive. They develop what I call rested dominance, the power that comes from stillness, not stress. Before we move on, here's something for those who want to take this deeper. Inside the member circle, we go beyond attraction. We train emotional control, body language, and stoic composure through real-world practice. You'll learn how to project calm authority without ever saying a word. If you're serious about leveling up your presence, join the circle today. Now take a second and look at yourself in the mirror. Not the face you show others, the one that shows up when you're alone. That's the one the world really feels. If that resonates with you, type it below. I master my calm. Don't go anywhere. What comes next will show you how your walk, more than your words, decides how women perceive you the moment you enter a room. Stay with me. Number 5. The way you hold things. Here's something most men never realize. Women don't just notice what you hold, they notice how you hold it. Whether it's a glass, your phone, your car keys, or her hand, your touch reveals the man behind the words. It shows your rhythm, your composure, and your confidence. And in many cases, she reads that before she even hears your voice. Let's talk about a man named Ethan, 54, from Seattle. Divorced, successful, but often told he gives off cold energy. During a dinner party, a friend pointed something out. You always hold your glass like you're about to set it down and leave. Ethan laughed, but later he noticed it was true. He gripped things tightly, abruptly, always moving too fast. He was living in constant tension. The next time he went out, he decided to slow down, not to fake confidence, but to let his movements breathe. He placed his glass down, gently leaned back, and stayed relaxed between gestures. And what happened? Women started leaning in when he spoke. They mirrored his calm energy. Because he wasn't rushing, he was present. That's the hidden psychology of touch and movement. Women can feel how grounded you are just by the way you hold things. A man who's always fidgeting, tapping, or gripping signals nervousness. A man who moves with precision and ease signals control. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. When a woman watches your hands, she's subconsciously reading whether you're safe, confident, and emotionally stable. The way you hold a drink, adjust your sleeve, or even lift a fork, those tiny movements are full of meaning. If your grip is firm but fluid, it communicates calm authority. If you're jittery or stiff, it communicates internal chaos. And there's science behind this. Psychologists call it embodied cognition, the idea that your body language doesn't just express your emotions, it creates them. Slow, deliberate movement reinforces mental calmness. When you move with intention, you feel more in control. That's why the Stoics practiced restraint in both action and reaction. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That includes your presence. It's shaped by small, consistent gestures, the way you sit, the way you move, the way you touch the world. When those gestures are unhurried, they radiate composure. Ethan learned that quickly. Within weeks, people described him differently, not cold anymore, but confident. Women described him as steady, because steadiness is rare in a world where everyone's rushing. Here's the truth: your touch tells a story. A man who holds things gently but firmly suggests balanced strength without aggression, care without weakness. It's the difference between tension and control. So next time you reach for something, your coffee mug, your jacket, even your steering wheel, notice your pace. Is your grip relaxed? Is your motion intentional? Because that 1 second movement speaks volumes. Women don't consciously think he's holding that well. They just feel a shift. The masculine energy that moves slowly, deliberately, and confidently, that's what draws them in. And when you combine that with calm facial energy and steady posture, everything you do becomes effortlessly attractive. If this message hit you, write it below. I move with intention. Stay right here, because what comes next is about your walk. And once you understand what your walk says about you, you'll never step into a room the same way again. Don't go anywhere. Number 6. The shoes that speak about you. They say you can tell a lot about a man by his shoes. And while most guys shrug that off as a cliché, women know it's absolutely true. Shoes reveal discipline, awareness, and self-respect, not because of the brand, but because of how you care for them. A man's shoes tell a story about his journey, and women are natural storytellers. They read it instantly. When you walk into a room, she might not consciously glance down, but she registers everything: the color, the condition, the way they move when you step. Are they clean but worn with character, or dirty and neglected like you've stopped paying attention? In psychology, this is called thin slicing, the ability to form accurate judgments based on small cues. And women are experts at it. If your shoes are taken care of, polished, neat, chosen with intention, it signals one powerful thing: you respect yourself. You take pride in the small details, and that quiet pride translates into attraction. Because self-respect, gentlemen, is contagious. The Stoics understood this idea thousands of years ago. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Every detail in your life should align with the man you claim to be, even your shoes. They might seem insignificant, but they reflect discipline, presence, and preparation. This isn't about fashion. It's about coherence, the harmony between who you are and how you present yourself. A man's shoes don't have to be expensive. They just have to be clean, intentional, and consistent with his character. The man who wears simple, well-kept leather shoes communicates steadiness. The man who wears flashy sneakers for attention communicates insecurity. There's something else happening here too, something primal. The way you walk in your shoes tells her whether you lead with confidence or caution. Your stride, your pace, your balance, all of it communicates energy. Slow, steady steps show grounded confidence. Rushed or uneven steps show anxiety. You see, attraction isn't built from words. It's built from signals. And shoes are one of those quiet signals that whisper everything she needs to know about you. A man who takes care of his shoes, even when no one's watching, shows that he lives with order, not chaos. The Stoic philosopher Cleanthes once wrote that character is revealed in consistency. You can't fake care. It's either there or it's not. When every part of your appearance aligns with your inner calm, your shoes, your posture, your expression, you send a clear message: this man has his life in order. And that's what women crave at a psychological level. Not money, not perfection, but order, stability. The kind of man who doesn't let things fall apart, even in the smallest details. So before you leave the house tomorrow, take 60 seconds to check your shoes, wipe them down, tie them neatly, not for her, for you. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And when you walk with quiet certainty, every step becomes a statement of who you are. If you get that, drop it below. I walk with order. Don't go anywhere, because next we're moving upward to something far more powerful than your shoes. It's about the way your eyes, without a word, tell her everything she needs to feel. Stay with me. Number 7. The calm movement that draws her in. There's something magnetic about a man who moves slowly, deliberately, without hurry. Women notice it immediately, not because it's dramatic, but because it's rare. Most men rush, fidget, overreact. They move like they're being chased by their own anxiety. But a man who moves calmly, he stands out. He radiates quiet power. Let's take David, 58, from Miami. A retired firefighter. Broad shoulders, steady eyes, but for years he couldn't figure out why younger women were drawn to him, even when he didn't say much. One night at a small bar, a friend pointed it out. "You don't move like other guys. You move like nothing can touch you." David laughed it off, but then he started noticing it. When he reached for his drink, his hand didn't shake. When he stood up, he didn't jerk or rush. He took his time. That was his presence, and women felt it. That's the psychology behind calm movement. When you're grounded, every motion you make communicates control, not over others, but over yourself. A man who can slow down his body is a man who's not ruled by his emotions. And to women, that's intoxicating. Your movement tells her what your words can't. If your gestures are sharp and anxious, she feels tension. If they're smooth and steady, she feels safe. It's not about trying to act cool. It's about being in tune with your rhythm. Because calmness is not the absence of energy, it's focused energy. Stoicism teaches that the soul becomes powerful when it remains undisturbed. When you master your inner world, your outer movements follow suit. Your walk becomes slower but more purposeful. Your gestures shrink but gain weight. You no longer rush to prove anything, and that silence, that stillness becomes magnetic. When David realized this, he started applying it everywhere. In the grocery store, he didn't rush through aisles. At the gym, he didn't slam weights or check his phone every 2 minutes. He just moved, controlled, relaxed, fully present. And without even trying, he noticed women holding eye contact longer, leaning in during conversation. Because calm energy attracts, it doesn't chase. Here's the truth: your movement tells people what your mind believes. Fast, scattered motion says, "You're trying to impress." Calm, minimal movement says, "You're already enough." You don't need to slow down dramatically or act like you're meditating in public. Just breathe. Let your actions catch up with your thoughts. When you move slower, you think clearer. And when you think clearer, you exude strength. Women are wired to pick up on that difference. They read it instinctively. When you move calmly, she sees a man who's grounded in his masculinity, someone who doesn't need to chase validation because he's already centered in who he is. So take this as your cue. The next time you're in conversation, pay attention to your pace. Let there be pauses. Move like you've got nowhere to prove, nowhere to rush. Because that's when she starts to lean in, drawn, not to your words, but to your energy. If that resonates with you, type it below. I move with calm strength. And don't go anywhere, because next we're going to shift focus upward to something far more intimate. The eyes. The one thing that can draw her in or reveal everything you're trying to hide. Stay with me. Number 8. The smile that doesn't need words. There's a certain kind of smile that doesn't come from trying. It comes from peace, and women can feel the difference instantly. The forced smile, the one that strains at the corners of your mouth trying to win approval, it dies the moment it's seen. But the quiet, effortless smile that lives in a man's calm, that one lingers, it stays with her, not because of how it looks, but because of what it says. A man's smile, when genuine, is one of the strongest non-verbal signals of inner power. It's not about charm or flirtation. It's about presence. A calm smile says, "I'm comfortable here. I'm not performing. I'm not hiding anything." It's the opposite of neediness. It's control through serenity. You see, women don't respond to smiles the way men do. Men often think, "If I smile, she'll like me." But women think, "If he smiles that way, he already likes himself." That subtle difference is everything. When your smile is rooted in self-acceptance, it becomes magnetic because it reflects a man who doesn't depend on others to validate him. This is where Stoicism gives us a timeless lesson. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." That applies perfectly here. Your smile is the mirror of your thoughts. If your mind is calm, your smile is calm. If your mind is restless, your smile looks forced. The Stoics never smiled to please others, they smiled from composure. It was their way of saying, "The world can't shake me." And that's exactly what makes a man attractive. Not a smile for attention, but a smile born from control. Think about it. A man who walks into a room and smiles naturally, quietly, not to dominate but to connect, he disarms people. Women especially sense that balance. It's confidence without ego, warmth without weakness. A calm smile tells her you're self-contained, that you find joy in being alive, not in being approved. It says you can be playful without losing your edge. You can be gentle without being soft. You can smile without giving away your frame. That's the kind of energy that women crave, even if they can't explain why. Because your smile becomes the emotional tone of the moment. It tells her whether you're safe, grounded and steady, or anxious, scattered and unsure. Here's a simple truth. A man who smiles too much is often seeking connection. A man who smiles too little seems cold. But the one who smiles at the right moments with quiet self-assurance makes everyone around him feel his presence. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need perfect teeth or charm school timing. You just need alignment between your mind and your emotion. When you master your thoughts, your smile follows effortlessly. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When life hits and you can still offer a calm, steady smile, not fake, not forced, just knowing, that's when you separate yourself from most men. So practice it. Not in the mirror, but in your mind. The next time you smile, let it come from stillness, not strategy. If you get this, write it below. I smile from calm. Don't go anywhere, because next we'll uncover something far deeper. The gaze that doesn't chase, but commands attention without saying a single word. Stay with me. Number 9. The way you treat others. Here's the thing most men never realize. Women notice how you treat everyone else long before they decide how they feel about you. They pay attention to the way you talk to the waiter, the barista, the Uber driver, the people who can't do anything for you. And that's not about politeness, it's about psychology. Because how you treat others reveals how you'll treat her when the excitement fades. Let's take Robert, 57, from Austin. A strong, quiet man. He'd been single for years after a long marriage. When he finally started dating again, something interesting happened. After his third date with a woman named Lisa, she said, "You know what made me say yes to seeing you again? The way you thanked the waiter. You looked him in the eye like you actually meant it." That moment for her was everything. See, Robert didn't even realize it, but his calm, respectful demeanor spoke louder than charm ever could. That's the truth about masculine energy. It doesn't need to dominate. It elevates the room just by being consistent and grounded. When you treat others with quiet respect, you demonstrate inner strength. You're not trying to impress, you're simply anchored. And women sense that energy immediately. Because deep down they're looking for signs of emotional maturity, not money, not bravado, but control. When a man can remain kind under pressure, patient with strangers, and grounded when others are reactive, he radiates something Stoicism calls virtue in action. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's exactly it. You don't talk about being a good man, you show it. Through tone, through gesture, through patience. Robert later told me something that stuck. I realized I didn't have to prove I was good. I just had to stop acting like I was in a hurry all the time. That shift alone made him more magnetic than years of small talk ever did. Because here's what women understand instinctively. Your behavior toward others isn't performance, it's character. You can fake interest, confidence, even charm. But you can't fake consistency. When she sees you being decent when no one's watching, that's when she starts to trust you. And trust is attraction's foundation. It's not about making her swoon, it's about making her feel safe in your presence. Safe to relax, safe to laugh, safe to be herself. That's why you'll often hear women say, "He just feels different." What they really mean is, he's not fighting the world. A man at peace with himself doesn't need to belittle others to stand tall. So if you want to shift how women perceive, you don't start with compliments or clever lines. Start with your everyday interactions. The way you treat people who have nothing to offer you defines your aura far more than any words can. Robert's story isn't unique, it's universal. The men who carry respect in their daily actions stand out effortlessly, because respect at its core is control over ego, over reaction, over impatience. So take this as a reminder. Every small interaction is a mirror of your inner discipline. Treat people the way a Stoic king would: calm, kind, and composed. If that speaks to you, write it below. I lead with respect. Don't go anywhere, because what comes next brings everything together. The final piece of this puzzle is what truly separates boys from men, and once you master it, you'll never have to chase attraction again. Stay with me. Number 10. The small details she never forgets. Here's a truth most men overlook. It's never the big dramatic gestures that make a woman remember you. It's the details. The tiny, subtle moments that seem meaningless to you, but linger in her mind for days, sometimes years. The way you pause before answering, the calm tone in your voice when everyone else is loud, the slight smirk when you catch her eye across the room, the way you roll your sleeves, or how your cologne fades when you walk away. These are the details that write your presence into her subconscious. They're quiet, but they echo. Women are incredibly detail-oriented, not because they're overanalyzing, but because they're wired to sense emotional cues. Every micro-gesture, every inflection, every small act of awareness tells her who you really are. When you open the door without hesitation, when you listen fully without interrupting, when you show up steady, even on off days, those moments build a kind of invisible gravity around you. It's not about trying to impress, it's about living with intention. The man who's attentive to detail in his life, in his appearance, his tone, his movements, naturally becomes memorable because he moves with purpose, not noise. And here's the deeper truth: women don't fall for perfection. They fall for consistency, for how your actions, words, and energy align over time. You could compliment her once and she'll forget it by next week. But if you remember something she said offhand 3 days ago, a song, a story, a preference, that detail tells her you were truly present. That's intimacy without effort. Stoic philosophy offers a lesson here too. Seneca wrote, "Character is built not by great things done once, but by small things done constantly." The same is true for attraction. The small, consistent behaviors that reveal who you are, your patience, your awareness, your calm, are what make you unforgettable. When you're deliberate in small things, it tells her that you're deliberate in everything, that you approach life with structure, with thought, with respect. And that, more than appearance or status, makes a man powerful in her eyes. Think about the men women describe as different. It's rarely because they're rich or famous or loud. It's because those men notice things most people missed. The tone of her laugh, the shift in her mood, the way to make her feel safe without words. These men don't chase attention, they earn it by being present enough to notice the unspoken. But let's flip it. The man who's careless with small things, who forgets names, interrupts arrives, disheveled, rushes his words, gives off a signal of disorder. To women, that lack of order equals instability. It doesn't matter how confident he pretends to be, his presence feels unsteady. Discipline in details doesn't make you rigid, it makes you trustworthy. It means your world doesn't fall apart when things get difficult. It's not about remembering everything, it's about caring enough to notice. That's why a woman remembers the smallest things about a man. She truly feels connected to his scent, his tone, the way he breathed when he said something sincere. Those details carve a space in her memory because they're tied to emotion, not performance. And that's the paradox. The more natural your awareness becomes, the less effort you need. When you live like a man who's awake to the small moments, every room, every person, every conversation starts to respond differently. You don't have to chase being unforgettable. You just have to live intentionally enough that forgetting you becomes impossible. Because at the end of the day, attraction isn't built on grand gestures, it's built on discipline, awareness, and grace in the details. The kind of grace that doesn't ask for attention but earns it through quiet strength. That's the mark of a truly stoic man, not a man who performs, but one who lives with such quiet precision that even his smallest actions leave a lasting impression. Everything you've heard in this video comes down to one truth: attraction isn't built on words, looks, or charm. It's built on awareness. The small, quiet signals that speak louder than anything you could ever say. From your hands to your walk, from your energy to the way you treat others, every detail tells the story of who you are. When you carry yourself with calm discipline and purpose, women feel it before they understand it. That's real power. That's what makes a man unforgettable. If you want to go deeper to master this level of presence, composure, and stoic control, join the Members Circle. Inside, we break down advanced mindset training, attraction psychology, and daily stoic habits that reshape how you move through the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel every day. You'll get a new lesson designed to sharpen your discipline and strengthen your masculine edge. Thank you for watching, brother. Stay grounded, stay calm, and I'll see you tomorrow.